Hello, dear students. Welcome to this virtual classroom for 4th SEM DSC or GE or AGE abstract algebra. So, I had given you some videos to see to clarify the concepts of set theory, which we will be requiring in our lecture. Okay, so anytime you may have a look at those things when you find it difficult. So the basic thing that we require is the concept of set and the union of sets, intersection of sets. Okay, these things will come up as and when required. Okay, so before I begin, let us get ourselves acquainted with what it is all about. So since our school days we have been learning algebra. Okay, now here you have something called abstract algebra. So how they are related? So let us begin from the very basic concept of this basic mathematical operation, that is addition. Okay, the addition operation. Say addition of say natural numbers. Okay, so for this particular course it is also important for you to get yourself acquainted with the ideas of these standard sets. Okay, all these are known to you, but probably if you are out of touch, then you will definitely forget. What is this symbol? What does it stand for? What is this symbol? Okay, what does it stand for? What is this symbol Q? What is this symbol R? Okay, so this symbol N, it stands for the set of natural numbers. Okay, natural numbers, right? And this symbol, so what are the natural numbers? The numbers which we use for counting 1 2 3 4 5 6, okay, and so on. So the numbers that we use for counting. Then Z, it is the set of integers. Z is the set of integers. Okay, what are the integers? Integers are we have 0, plus minus 1, plus minus 2. So 0 together with positive and negative natural numbers. Okay, so this is the set of integers. Q is the set of rational numbers. Okay, so what are rational numbers? The numbers which are of this type, it is the set of P by Q such that Q is non-zero and P and Q are both integers. Okay, P comma Q, they belong to Z. Okay, P and Q are integers and Q is non-zero, that is the denominator is non-zero. Okay, because we cannot divide anything by 0. And R is the set of real numbers. Okay, the set of real numbers. So in our last semester also, in 3rd sem, we have seen some properties of real numbers. Okay, basic property that sum of two real numbers is a real number. Okay, and one idea of real number is something like the real line. Any point on this line corresponds to a real number. Okay, and every real number is a point on this particular line. Okay, so one concept is this, means whatever number exists in the world, these are all real numbers. Okay, more precisely, the real numbers, they contain the set of rational numbers, and anything which cannot be expressed in this particular form P by Q, that is a irrational number. So that irrational numbers are also real numbers. Okay, so the whole number system consists of rational numbers and irrational numbers. Okay, so let us come back to this point, addition of natural numbers. So in our school days we have already seen from our nursery classes probably 2 plus 3 equal to 5. Okay, how do we add 2 plus 3 is same as 3 plus 2. Okay, so this is also we have seen that 2 plus, if you take something like this, 2 plus 3 plus 4, this is always equal to 2 plus 3 plus 4. Okay, so these type of things, they have got some name. This type of properties, they have got some name. Okay, so what are those? Let me just list it out so that you can understand these things better. Okay, the sum of two natural numbers is a natural number. Okay, natural number. Okay, if you add two natural number, the result that you get is also a natural number. So symbolically, how do I write? A comma b belongs to n implies a plus b belongs to n. Okay, so in symbols we write it this way: a plus b belongs to n implies that a comma b belongs to n means you take any element a and b inside n, it will always imply that a plus b is also inside n. Okay, so the sum of any two natural numbers is a natural number. So this is a property satisfied with the set of natural numbers with respect to addition. Okay, then if you take any two natural numbers a and b, a plus b is always the same as b plus a. Okay, so the first property we call it as closure property. Closure property, right? First property is called closure property. The second property, a plus b equal to b plus a for every a b inside natural number. So this is actually called, all of you know, this is actually called the commutative property. Okay, this is the commutative property of addition. If you take the sum of a and b, it is same as taking the sum of b and a. Okay, so these are natural. We do not demand any proof for these things. They are taken for granted. Okay, the way we define addition initially in our school days, how did you do this type of addition? Say 2 plus 3. What was the system? If you remember nicely, for 2 you give 2 telemarks, right? And for 3 you give another 3. 1, 2, 3, right? So what is the sum? Then you count. Okay, you count these things: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if it is something like 3 plus 2, what we do? 1, 2, 3. We give 3 lines first, and then we give 2 lines. Okay, and then we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that way these are the same. Okay, so we do not demand any proof or something like that, right? Next you have another property for this, that is a plus b plus c is equal to a plus b plus c. That means we can change the brackets. Okay, we can shift the brackets, right, for every a, b, c inside the natural numbers. Okay, what is this property called? It is called the associative property. Of course, with respect to addition. Okay, so with respect to addition. Okay, so this is one more property which the set of natural numbers satisfy. Okay. Okay, so next, can we find a natural number e such that a plus e is always equal to a? Can we find such a number? Can we find e inside the set of natural number such that, okay, such that this happens, a plus e equal to a? Is it possible to find? So if you think nicely by our idea of this equations and all, if such an E exists, then E has to be actually 0, right? So 0 is not a natural number. Okay, so in the set of natural numbers, we cannot find an element E which when added to any other element gives the same element back. Okay, that is not possible in the set of natural numbers. Okay, but if we change our set to the set of integers, in Z it is possible to find. Okay, it is possible to find such an element E. Okay, what is that element? E is 0. Okay, so this 0, we call this element as additive identity in Z. Okay, the 0 element, any number added with 0 gives the number itself. Okay, 5 plus 0 will give you 5. Okay, so this element 0 is called additive identity, right? So in the set of natural numbers, you see it satisfies, so let me list the properties: closure property, then commutative property, associative property, then existence of identity, additive identity. Okay, so in N, with respect to addition, closure property is satisfied, commutative property is satisfied, associative property is satisfied, but identity property is not satisfied. That is, there does not exist any identity element. Okay, but if you consider Z with respect to addition, it satisfies closure property, it satisfies commutative property, it satisfies associative property, it also satisfies the existence of identity. Okay, so you see there are differences between these two sets. Okay, the sets are not same. So Q plus, say, the set of rational numbers with respect to addition. So we know the sum of two rationals is rational. The addition of rationals is commutative. Addition of rationals is associative. It also satisfies the identity property, existence of identity. Okay. What about the set of real numbers with respect to addition? Set of real numbers with respect to addition, it satisfies closure property, commutative property, associative property, identity property is satisfied. Okay. Now let me write another property here, that is the inverse. Existence of identity, existence of inverse. What is inverse? So in the set of natural number, can you say I give you an element, say 1. I give an element 1 in the set of natural numbers. Can you find A belongs to natural number such that 1 plus A is equal to 0? So we cannot find that, because that will require that A should be -1, but -1 is not a natural number. Okay, so in the set of natural numbers, we cannot find elements which given any element, we cannot find another element which when added to that element gives you 0. That is, given any A belongs to natural number, it is not possible to find B such that A plus B gives you 0. Okay, so that's not possible. Of course, this 0 is itself not an element of n. Okay, so immediately there no question of getting inverse. But in Z, if you are given, say, 2, if you are given 2 in Z, then which element of Z added to 2 gives you the result 0? So immediately you will say me this is -2. 2 plus -2 will give you 0. Okay, -2 is also an integer, right? So in the set of integers, this is possible. Okay, given any integer, there exists another integer whose sum with that integer is actually 0. Okay, so given any, so this symbol is also called given any or for all. Okay, so given any a belongs to z, there exists minus a belongs to z such that so what is the property of minus a? Minus a satisfies this property: a plus minus a is always equal to the identity element. Okay, 0. So this is satisfied by the set of integers with respect to addition. This is satisfied by the set of rational numbers with respect to addition, because if you are given a rational number p by q, then if you add it with this rational number minus p by q, the answer that you get is actually 0, right? For real numbers also it is satisfied. Okay, so other than this property, the commutative property, we for the time being we cancel this property. Okay, other than this property, these four properties gives us something called the concept of group. Okay, closure property, associative property, identity, existence of identity, existence of inverse. Okay, so this definition of group itself is motivated from the properties of this z, q and r, which we have been learning quite naturally. Okay, so any set with a given operation, it may be addition, multiplication, division, okay, whatever it is, or if you can define your own operation, if any set with together with that operation satisfies these four properties, okay, satisfies these four properties, then that particular set with the operation is said to be a group. Okay, we say that it forms a group, G-R-O-U-P, group. Okay, so that is the very fundamental thing that we will learn in this unit. Okay, right, and if you have gone through those videos that I had given, there is a concept called Cartesian product of two sets. If A and B are two sets, say A is equal to 1, 2, 3, right, B is equal to say 5, 7, 9. Okay, what is A cross B? A cross B, that is the Cartesian product of A and B, is this set 1, 5, 1, 7, then 1, 9, okay, then 2, 5, then 2, 7, then 2, 9, okay, and 3, 5, 3, 7 and 3, 9. Okay, so this is the Cartesian product A cross B. Okay, so we learn a new way of writing something like 1 plus 5. Okay, instead of writing 1 plus 5, can we write this one as or can we denote this one as plus operated on these two elements? Okay, so we are writing this in a functional notation. Okay, so we are writing this as a function. Okay, we are writing this as a function, plus operated on 1 and 5. Okay, that is the idea. Say if I write something like plus operated on 3, 9, so this will give us 3 plus 9, that is 12. Okay, right, so we can consider addition as a function. Okay, addition can be considered as a function, right? So addition in the set of natural numbers can be considered a function. Say plus, so it is a function from which set to which set? It is a function from n cross n to n. Okay, so for addition I need two numbers, so that is why I need this particular set. The first number comes from this set. Okay, the second number also comes from this set n. okay, and we get something like a plus b. Okay, so similarly multiplication say from the set of real numbers on the set of real numbers, so that is also a function. Multiplication of a comma b, okay, is denoted by ab. Okay, so this is a function. So this whatever operations we do, we can actually write them as or denote them as functions. Okay, so in group theory or in abstract algebra, so these are called binary operations. What is a binary operation on a non-empty set? Okay, what is a binary operation? Let G be a non-empty set. Okay, let G be a non-empty set. Then a binary operation on G is a function from G cross G to G. Okay, that is the thing. So any function from G cross G to G. Okay, that is you operate this particular operation on so a binary operation, let us denote it as star. Okay, a binary operation star on G is a function from G cross G to G. Okay, so we denote it by, so star operated on a comma b is denoted by, okay, denoted. So instead of writing it as star a comma b, we denote it by a star b. Okay, right. So this is called a binary operation. So for example, addition is a binary operation, on the set of natural numbers. Okay, because if you take two natural numbers, okay, then a plus b is always a natural number. Okay, so the after performing that operation, but whatever result you should get, that should be an element inside the same set, then only we say that it is a binary operation on that particular set. Okay, what about subtraction? Is it a binary operation? Subtraction, is it a binary operation? Is it a binary operation on which set? On the set n. Is it a binary operation on n? So the answer is no, because you say 2 minus 3, so this is equal to minus 1. So this does not belong to the set of natural number. Okay, so we are taking two elements from the set of natural number, operating them with the subtraction operation, but the result that we get is minus 1, so which is not an element in natural number. So subtraction is not a binary operation on the set of natural number. Okay, but of course subtraction is binary on the set of integers. Okay, is binary on the set of integers. Okay, similarly subtraction is binary on q also. If you take two rational numbers, their difference is always a rational number. Okay, subtraction is binary on r also. If you take two real numbers, their difference is always a real number. Okay, so what about multiplication? Multiplication is a binary operation. On which set? On n, z, then q, r, everywhere it is a binary operation. Okay, right. What about division? Is it a binary operation? Division On n, is it a binary operation? No. Okay, it's not binary operation, not a binary operation. Why? Because say something like 1 divided by 2, so this is not an natural number. Okay, so division is not binary operation on n. On the set of integers, is it a binary operation? So same logic, 1 divided by 2, it's not an integer. Okay, so it's not a binary operation, right? Another logic is 1 by 0, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, q, on q, is it a binary operation, the division? That is also not a binary operation, because division by 0 is not possible. Okay, division by 0 is not possible. Okay, not possible. So for a binary operation, for each pair of elements in a G cross G, there should be a unique element in G. Okay, that is the binary operation. So division is not a binary operation in these sets. But if I say the set Q minus singleton 0, if I remove this 0 element, then division is a binary operation in the set of non-zero rational numbers. Okay, then it is called a binary operation. Okay, so let us just write the definition of a group, and then we'll stop. We will continue the next day. So what is the definition of a group? The definition of a group. Okay, so let G be a non-empty set, be a non-empty set, and say star from G cross G to G. Okay, be a binary operation. Binary operation on G. Then G is, or say G star is said to be a group. Okay, we write it usually as an ordered pair. Later on we'll dismiss this notation, because the operation, once the operation is obvious, we don't write it explicitly. So then G star is said to be a group, said to be a group if, so there are actually 4 conditions, but one condition is already stated in when we say binary operation, the closure property. Okay, number 1 is the closure property. Okay, so even though it's already included in this binary operation, let us state it again. A star B belongs to G for all A B belongs to G. Okay, so this is redundant. Don't write this in exam, redundant. I am just writing it to make it clear that this actually this particular closure property is already included in when we say binary operation. Okay, so to stress on the fact that for G to be a group, whatever elements you take and operate this operation, the result that you get should be an element in G. Okay, so that's why there is no harm in writing it once again. So A star B belongs to G for every A B belongs to G. Okay, so this is called the closure property. Closure property. Okay, or we say G is closed with respect to star. Okay. Number 2 property that should be satisfied is the associative property. A star B star C should be same as A star B star C. Okay, for all A B C inside G. Okay, so this is the associative property we had already listed. Associative property. Okay, number 3 is that existence of inverse. Okay, sorry, existence of identity. Existence of identity. So let me write if it satisfies the following. Satisfies the following. Okay, existence of identity means there is an element, there exists an element E inside G such that A star E is same as A, which is equal to E star E. Okay, for every A inside G. Okay, so if you want to relate, you can see I had already discussed this in our this earlier pages. Okay, so something like this: 1 plus 0 equal to 1. Okay, 1 added with 0 is 1, so 0 is the additive identity. Okay, so here the operation is star. A star with E is A equal to E star A for every A in G. Okay, so that is called the existence of identity. Okay, and number 4 is the existence of inverse. Existence of inverse. Inverse is given any A inside G, there exists a B inside G such that B is equal to AB is equal to BA equal to E. Okay, so AB means actually A star B. Okay, just let me emphasize on this. Later on we will just do away with the star. Okay, for the time being, for understanding this concept, we need this star. So G star is a group if it satisfies these properties, that A star B belongs to G for every A and B in G. A star B star C is same as A star B star C. That means the brackets are not necessary. It is the associative property. Existence of identity, it says that there is an element E inside G such that A star E equal to A equal to E star A. Okay, for every A in G. And existence of inverse, it says that for every A in G, there is an element B in G which satisfies A star B equal to B star A equal to identity element. Okay, so this one. So this is the definition of a group. Okay, for example, Z with respect to plus is a group. Okay, we have already discussed in the earlier here. Q with respect to plus is a group. Okay, then R with respect to plus is a group. Okay, so these are the basic examples which already we have discussed, but we have to write it in a proper way, which we will see. Okay. So I'll give you some problems to think whether Z with respect to minus, that is subtraction, is a group or not. Whether Z is a group with respect to subtraction, whether Q is a group with respect to subtraction, whether R is a group with respect to subtraction. Okay, you try to think on this. Also, you try to think whether Z with respect to multiplication, okay, is a group or not. Okay, Q with respect to multiplication, is it a group? Is a group or not? Does it satisfy all these properties that we have listed? Okay, right. So for today we have up to this. So in the next lecture we will continue. Thank you.